living the dream. I'm in love with the lights. This is not just a game. This here is my life.
Hello, everybody. Live from Washington, D.C., it is the Brothers Millers giving you the OZone Espresso shot coming at you right now. Just wanted to update you while we're on the road making our tennis travel series, Advantage Omar, and talk to you about what's going on in the world of sports. I'm here with my brother Terry Miller, the Icons. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, a lot of things have been happening in the world of Major League Baseball. The All-Star break came and went, and as predicted, Manny Machado is a Dodger. What do you think this does for the Dodgers, T?
This should take them over the hump, but, I still think they need to shore up their lineup. That rotation, the frontline rotation, is not as solid as it was last year. I think Ross Stripling is starting to get tired, and the kid Walker Buehler, he hasn't pitched a complete Major League season, so there's still some question marks with the Dodgers. I don't think that they ever struggled offensively.
Yeah, well, they're putting up runs now, and I think it'd be nice for them to shore up the bullpen even more so than the starters. With the way that the game gets shortened now, yeah, because with the way that the game is shortened now, it seems to be more important to have guys that go 6 through 8 because they got a ninth inning guy in the big fella, Kenley Jansen, as opposed to 1 through 5. Because even if they get down, they can slug it out with most teams and come back into the game. They supposedly are in the running to get Manny Machado's former teammate, Zach Britton. And this is where the hot stove is really heating up because any day now, the word's going to break where Zach Britton is going. He's going somewhere. And honestly, a couple of years ago, before he got hurt, guys, Zach Britton was arguably the best pitcher in all of baseball. He was definitely the best reliever. Right. But he threw a really heavy ball. Yeah, he's a monster.
Below 1. Yeah, he's a monster.
And honestly, they say Houston's in on him. The Dodgers are in on him. All the playoff contenders look like they're in on him. And where he goes may determine a lot because the Cubs are also in on him.
He can literally get you there. Yeah.
Especially if you already have a closer.
Yeah, and I think that the Astros need him more so than anybody. They have Rondon that's closing now. He's doing an admirable job, but that doesn't get it done. You can't trust him in a big-time situation.
No.
You can trust Zach Britton in a big-time situation.
I agree. And even though Buck Showalter didn't trust him and got walked off in Toronto a couple of years ago when Zach wasn't in the game for some reason, the rest of the league knows how devastating and dominant that he is and can be. If you look at the playoffs coming up very quickly, you look at the standings right now, the Yankees are fading, and they need to get themselves together because it's a gut check time for them in the American League East, which they've been going back and forth with the Red Sox all season, and the Red Sox are stretching it out now, and they're proving themselves to be, in my opinion, right now, the best team in baseball. You're seeing that the Yankees are down to 6 now. 6 down, and you got turmoil in the clubhouse.
Yeah, you got guys not hustling out balls. Gary Sanchez, he's not a good catcher. He's not a good defensive catcher, as I've said before. So I honestly feel like you can use Gary Sanchez maybe at first base or something, but they need to get a catcher that's really going to help them because not only offensively, but defensively, because you can't have him in the big-time games with a pass ball in a clutch situation.
Well, you saw it last year. There was a couple balls in the Houston series where there were plays at the plate, and he couldn't make the play. On relay throws and whatnot, he couldn't make the play and also make the tag. And honestly, the big draw on Gary Sanchez was he was supposed to be the best hitter out of this bunch. He was supposed to be the best hitter out of this group of Yankees. And now he's batting below the Mendoza line, and he's been hurt, and that's going to be hard when you aren't running balls out. You aren't hustling for pass balls because you got crossed up because you probably forgot what you called. And I really think this is where things are going to get tough on the Yankees for having an Aaron Boone as opposed to having a Joe Girardi, who was a catcher, who knows how to work with catchers and who also knows how to call games. Because I really believe that part of what's wrong with Sonny Gray is that.
Well, you know what? I think that Sonny Gray and most pitchers need to find a happy home, meaning that they need to find a pitching coach that can get their message through to them. Because if you can't get that message through, then you end up like a Sonny Gray type of player where you leave a place like Oakland where he had struggled a little bit at the end of his tenure, and then he comes to the Yankees and he's never established himself out there in New York as being the dominant force that he was earlier in his career.
Right, so and I don't think it's a physical thing. He still has stuff. He just can't put it together.
Yeah, and, he's sort of too young to give up on it, but there's just so many kids in the minor league that you can just give a chance to. And their front line of their rotation they have Severino, and everybody's a question mark after that. So you can't. I can never take the Yankees serious. And too many times nowadays, teams are focusing on offense, and they should be focusing on pitching. And I mean starting pitching, because now everybody's into the bullpen game, shortening the game up. But if you can get a couple of frontline pitchers like the Astros have done that go 6 or 7 innings, and then you don't have to kill your bullpen.
Or longer.
Yeah, or longer. I mean, come on, man.
Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander are going 7. Pretty much every time out, they're going at least 7.
Dallas Keuchel as well.
Yeah. Solid
Lance
guys.
McCullers is learning how to pitch. You know,
Yeah,
and Charlie
Morton. Yeah, and it does a lot to help your bullpen so that the guys come in with fresh arms and they really deal. I like what the Indians did at first when they signed Oliver Perez. I was a little suspect, but now they came back and picked up Brad Hand. I see if anybody makes any more moves, but they have a formidable lineup. Jose Ramirez is just quickly burgeoning into a full-blown superstar. He's leading the league in home runs. Michael Brantley's the guy that I'm really happy that is back and banging the baseball. He's going to make a big difference in any kind of stretch run that they make. But they need to get more out of Carlos Carrasco. He's winning games, but his ERA is way up from what it normally is.
Yeah.
Cookie's normally down in the 2s and the 3s at the highest. He's giving up a lot of runs, and that's not going to work as you get down to the stretch. But we're going through that period where everybody's arm is getting dead, and we're going to see who's going to come out of that a better pitcher. And this is in all of baseball.
Yeah, and this is when you get guys like the Verlanders and the Keuchels and, these older guys who've been there before who can actually live through the season. You know, they understand that when their arm dies that they need to switch things up. You know, if you're a power guy and a young power guy, you watch the younger power guys try to throw harder since their arm is dead. That doesn't work. You need to learn this is where you learn how to pitch. Even when you have your bad stuff. When you don't have your stuff, you have to go out there and perform.
Right. Yeah, it's critical. It's critical mass theory. Well, switching gears, LeBron James.
What are you going to?
I'm going switching in the third. I'm going to chirp into third with this one. 411 Posse in the back. And we're looking at the Lake Show with LeBron James, and the team that they're assembling around him has got a lot of eyebrows raised. They're talking about playing LeBron James at center. They're talking about now they've picked up Michael Beasley, Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo. A lot of guys have been on a lot of different teams, and the wonder is it going to fit? As well as does it fit up north of the border in the 6, as they call it, with Kawhi Leonard, who, thank God, actually did report for service, and now he's talking about staying up there.
Yeah, I mean, that was a whole debacle, and honestly, you're glad to see him get out there, but I always felt like he should have honored his contract because they say that he could have played through the playoffs, and he just decided to sit out just like he
quit on the team.
And that's the bottom line.
You can never, as an athlete or any sort of competitor, you can never appreciate that. And then I just read something else. He's also an endorsement free agent right now. So his contract is up with Nike that he has been in talks about, but the talk stalled because he didn't want to take the $22 million extension. I think it was 4 years, $22 million or something like that. And you know what? This is going to be interesting to see what happens with him because he's painting himself
like you gave bad advice.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It does, right?
Yeah. It sounds like there's a lot of bad advice going on, maybe from some of the homeboys.
Maybe some people that are not in professionals. They just said professional homeboys that are giving him advice.
Professional homeboys.
Family members or something. Whatever it is, that it's just not. I don't know. It doesn't. The lack of communication in the world of the 24-hour media and news cycles is not a good look. And it just makes him look bad. It makes him look like he quit on the team. Now it's making him look like he quit on Nike. I don't know. But if he's still the same Kawhi Leonard, he steps in as the best player in the East now. And it will be interesting to see what Toronto's able to do. The East has just gotten super competitive with this move.
Yeah, there's parity in the East, and I think that it's wide open. Anybody can step in there. But you talk about getting Kyrie back and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, and Gordon Hayward
now. Yeah, so
you got Washington who picked up Dwight Howard that everybody overlooks, even though he's still giving you double-double.
Yeah. So there's some serious competition out there, and anybody can come out the East at this point. Who's going to come out the West? That's the big thing. I don't feel like the Lakers have done enough. Honestly, I don't really.
Well, I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over. We still got a ways before camp. We still got a ways. We've seen this kid in the summer league. This kid, Josh Hart, is ready to go, and you can tell that he believes it. And one thing that I like is that all the kids are talking about their 2K rating And it seems to be something that may actually make them work on their game as opposed to worldwide coverage of their sport for some reason that doesn't prompt them to do that.
Right, which is crazy. I mean, you have to have respect. I think that they look at it and see that they don't have a jumper, like, no, I got a jumper. And
you don't.
You go back and look at the percentages, you don't have a jumper. I mean, but some reason you equate guys making threes to an actual mid-range jumper. I think that mid-range jumper is devalued nowadays. The mid-range jumper, it keeps you honest. If you can drive to the rack or just act like I'm driving to the rack, pull up and hit that mid-range jumper, Kobe was great at that. That's what something
he sure was.
Really
Michael Jordan, too. And Kobe got that from Michael Jordan. And you get to that elbow and you work that 15 to 17-foot range, it's unstoppable because now they're scared of you going to the rack. They're scared of you pulling up, which makes the three wide open, and it gets you a lot of three the hard ways, which just raises your percentages in general.
Does.
Raises your percentages. But speaking of athletes saying that they're better than they are, how about in the NFL, Jimmy Garoppolo making noise and saying, hey, you know what? Actually, I thought I was better than Tom Brady all those years, and I was mad that I couldn't play. What's your take on Big Jimmy? Jimbo.
Yeah, I agree with Jimmy. What type of athlete would think that another athlete was better than him? That would kill the competitive nature of everything. Why would I not want – oh, you know, that was the Jordan theory, the Jordan rules, where guys would literally bow down to a guy before they even played against Mike Tyson. You know, you should feel like I'm going out here to compete to win, and I feel like that I have the tools and I'm better than this guy, and I'm going to show him. I'm going to impose my will on him just like he wants to impose his will on me. And that's what it's about.
And somehow or another, these guys are chided for that. I agree with you on that. If you don't believe that you're the best, now how is anybody else going to believe it? And how do you manifest
your
that?
Mother.
You think exactly? You think you're going to accidentally stumble into being the best? No.
Right.
Tom Brady stepped in, took over for Drew Bledsoe, and was like, you know what? I'm the man. This was my shot.
And now Jimmy Garoppolo's getting what is he supposed to say? Oh, yeah, you know what? I know Tom Brady was better than me, but no, Tom Brady wasn't better than me. I should have been starting. That was my team. That's the attitude that you're supposed to have.
And it's the attitude you want. If you're playing for San Francisco.
As an elite athlete.
Yeah.
As any athlete, honestly.
Yeah, seriously. And now you're looking at same old with football. Now you're looking at Julio Jones sitting out for contract, Le'Veon Bell sitting out for contract. It's going to be interesting once the season starts to see where these guys end up or if they end up with their same teams because guys want to rework their deal. And they're not necessarily wrong for it.
Well, they said that they're not going to give Julio Jones an extension. I feel like Julio Jones could be the best receiver in football. He could be one of the best receivers in history. But one of the problems is that they can't get him the ball. They can't figure out how to get him the ball in the end zone. And now they're trying to hold that against him because they can't get him the ball in the end zone. That's their bad.
Not his fault.
You're supposed to come up with a scheme to get Julio Jones the ball. You don't have a receiver out. I'm the only person that's close to him, although Josh Gordon could be. He's not. But it's AB. I mean, but other than that, where can you, but even size-wise, AB doesn't have the size. Where can you find a receiver that can do everything literally on the field? Julio Jones performs in the Super Bowl. You get him, you showed out all the way down the field, and then you give the ball to somebody else.
And
I mean, you're basically using him as a decoy.
24-point lead. That's what you do.
And then now you want him to take less than. That's not fair to Julio Jones. Why would I take less than? I'm sure if he goes to a team like the Rams or something, the Rams will figure out how to get him the ball.
Oof. Man, the Rams are the super team of football, and it's going to be interesting if they can pick up another guy like that, like a Julio Jones type. You got problems. and moving on into the world of boxing, we didn't get to speak on it, but ladies and gentlemen, Manny Pacquiao looks fantastic.
I mean, he looks great, and I think that he should. He's trying to fight Floyd again. Floyd didn't, Floyd. They got that first win, but I do believe that if Floyd's money is not right, Floyd will come out of retirement and fight him. I think it's Floyd high off the hog right now.
I mean, but if you make $500 million, you deserve a little good pinky in the swine. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't know. I didn't really particularly care for how he looked against Conor McGregor, so I'm not going to speculate on that one. But against the guys that are there now, if Manny was to fight at 140 or catch weight or something like that, because he's the fight that all these guys want. They're talking about Manny versus Mikey Garcia at 140. They're talking about Manny versus Lomachenko at 140. They're talking about Manny versus Terrence Crawford. The only person that I would not like to see Manny Pacquiao fight is Earl Spence. in that range, in that 140 to 147 range. I actually would like to see Manny, and I think his sweet spot is around 140. So he would do better to fight at catch weights or down to, 140, but 147 and whatnot. The guys are very big, and at the age that he is and the age that these young guys are, he looked great, no doubt, but he looked great against Lucas Matisse, and Lucas Matisse not a threat, except for the people who haven't seen Lucas Matisse fight recently. And then you had that Jaime Munguia versus Liam Beefy Smith fight, which I have to say Beefy came out and showed a lot, but that fight I think is going to help Jaime Munguia in the long run a lot.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's going to help him because he's been exploited to me. I mean, he has a lot of flaws, and they want to move him up and have him fight against some of the bigger elite fighters. And
they're talking about keeping him at 54. And the talk that I keep hearing now is him and Hurd, and I don't think he wants to see Hurd either. Yeah, I agree. He needs more rounds because Beefy had worked for him. He just didn't have enough pop.
Yeah, he just didn't have any fun.
Yeah. But it was a good fight. Man, that was a good card.
It was a great fight. But he would have lost. He probably would have gotten knocked out if Beefy had any kind of problem. And most of the fighters were chiming in on that on Twitter. They knew that if he had got hit with anything with any thunder behind it, you probably could have put him to sleep. His plungers are wide. He's not fundamentally sound, and he knows that he needs work, which is cool. I like that.
And that's why I say I think it'll help him because he understands that he needs work. I just hope nobody moves him forward too fast because that's how they get you.
Yeah, and that's always a problem because then that gets you knocked out.
That will get you knocked out. And then this weekend. It does. And then this weekend we got a nice fight shaping up with, a guy who's in my top 5 pound for pound, Mikey Garcia versus Robert Easter Jr. I like Mikey in the fight. I like Mikey over pretty much everybody that you can match him up against up to 140, except for maybe Manny. And, it's happening in LA. Shout out to Showtime because Showtime does a lot of keeping fights in LA. And I love that. We went to a fight at the Staples Center. Now this is another one right back at it. I think LA loves boxing, and then this is going to be another situation where Mikey gets to fight at home. It's going to be a good feeling.
Right. I really don't. Honestly, don't. Robert Easter is not a threat to Mikey Garcia.
Play the simple game.
Play it. I can't even play games and act like he is because Robert Easter, he doesn't hit hard. He's a volume puncher. He gets hit too much. And Mikey Garcia is one of the best in the game. And he's fundamentally, completely fun. To me, he's the most fundamentally sound boxer in boxing. And I would take Anthony Joshua right after that. But, as far as champions. But
right,
the guy, Robert Easter hasn't shown to me that he's a guy that you can still threaten to take your title. He's not a one-punch knockout artist. What does he do well?
Hey, jeez. Robert Easter Jr., call in if you want to talk and speak up on your resume because the icons don't believe. Wow.
Believer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Espresso shot of the Ozone. We'll be back at you later this week with a full show. In the meanwhile, take care of yourselves. It's chaotic times out there. We're out in the nation's capital trying to make some change. This is the Ozone.
Ozone.
I'm just living the dream.